Batwoman number 7, Margaret Bennett writing and Fernando Blanco on art. Um, this was start of a new arc, because obviously we had issue 6 was the
Hmm.
sort of the standalone kind of Days of Future Past-esque look at the future that we're going to get to later on,
Yeah.
possibly in Detective. Whereas this was kind of, okay, we're back to the sort of the main threads, but we're kind of moved along a little bit. And we have this story of Batwoman in the Sahara Desert, chasing down, because they set up that the time has passed, and we had Knife, and then we had like this series of other assassins and like people working for the Many Arms of Death.
Kind of would have liked to see those stories.
Yeah, like they sound interesting. Obviously, she's chasing down the Needle, who at the end of the
Yeah.
story, spoilers, turns out to be Scarecrow, which is actually
I
kind of cool.
wish I wish they hadn't put Scarecrow on the cover.
Yeah, no, I agree. Even though I like the cover a lot, I wish it wasn't
The
this
cover
issue.
looks cool. To have them, we've been chasing Needle, and then at the end when you get to it, and Needle's Scarecrow, and it'll be like, what? This
Yeah,
is cool.
that should have been the cover for the next issue, and it wasn't. It shouldn't have been
Yeah,
revealed to us until after this one. Yeah,
yeah.
I agree with that. I agree with that. So that is a criticism. I will say I like this issue quite a bit. I probably think it's a little bit weaker than a few of the recent ones.
Hmm.
But that's maybe more of a testament to the quality I think the books had, where I've been really, really loving the issues. And in this one, I liked quite a bit, but I wasn't as
It
in
was
love with
good.
it.
The whole thing with the foxes and the thorns,
Mm,
I thought made for some good imagery. And like, I mean, they have red hair. Kate has red hair, and it's kind of. I feel like that's gonna be Sophia's motivation
yeah, we
for why
have.
she flipped.
Yeah, because it talks about how like the fox goes through the rose and it gets like an infection and then it spreads
Yep.
disease, and it's like the idea that Kate showed up to the island and she spread like the stuff that changed the island, and everything
Right.
became different because of her.
Yep.
Uh, I like to talk about the Sahara Desert, and like I was like, oh, this is Sahara Desert's bigger than the whole of Europe. I did not know that. That's an interesting fact. Again, it's just this comparison thing that it's hurting it here a little bit. Is I think the art's actually very good. It just happens to be the weakest that the books
It's
had.
it's not what's his
Epting.
name? Epting. Yeah.
Yeah, that first arc was gorgeous, and then that issue with the boat, and like that was the really romantic feeling issue. That had a really
Yeah.
unique style, and then the last one had that futuristic thing going for it. So that this one, just by default, even though some great stuff in it, because in the desert, and then there's that flashback with her sister with the snow.
Mm.
There's some great stuff. And do you know what I liked about the ending of this when we find out she finds this what might be an oasis and she drinks from it, and I'm
Yep.
like, is that an oasis or is this just the scarecrow fear gas like giving her hallucinations? Because it was making me think that maybe some of the flashbacks, because that flashback with her sister, you see the bullet hole in her head at the end and the blood drips down. I was thinking, is the
Yep.
scarecrow gas already like she's thinking about these memories, and the scarecrow gas is actually already like affecting her
Well, yeah,
thoughts?
and she had talked about that Oasis wasn't what it appeared to be.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that'll come into play later. I'm a sucker for a good Scarecrow story. My favorite Batman story is called Absolute Terror. It involves Scarecrow deciding he can work his craft without the fear toxin,
Hmm.
and he basically cripples Gotham for a period because he becomes like a serial killer and is plucking victims at random, and everyone's afraid to go outside, and he's just taking in all this fear, and it's a really cool story. And it comes from Detective Comics. I think it's 835. If you're interested, starts there. So I think it's 835, 836. But yeah, so I'm a sucker for a good Scarecrow story. So I'm glad that he turned up.
Yeah.
I wish it had been more of a surprise.
Yeah, it looks cool at the end though, because it's like in her like weird vision of what's going on, and
Hmm.
she feels she's drowning, and Scarecrow's got like octopus tentacles,
Yeah,
like behind her. It's pretty cool stuff. It's very nightmarish, and I think the whole issue has that feeling to it where as she's walking through the desert, she's getting more delirious, and it's almost like, is the Scarecrow grass involved yet, or is this just her going nuts because she's out in the desert and she's not finding anything? Like is the heat
yeah.
getting to her, kind of thing. So it's playing with those ideas. So Batwoman continues to be really good stuff. Even if this, like, because it's that nightmare thing, it almost doesn't feel as tightly written as the previous issues, because it is, but it's intentionally kind of
Mhm.
wacky in the way it follows on from each other. And then the art, just by comparison to the previous artist, feels a little bit of a step down, even though it's still actually quite good. So it has that going against it, but it's actually still a really good issue, and I'm really curious as to where they go with the Scarecrow stuff. So.